Welcome to Sports Extra. I'm your host, Ali Gauhar. Tonight we're going to focus on footy, and I'm sure lots of people in Pakistan haven't heard about footy. It's Aussie rules football. It's a very competitive sport, and tonight we'll be talking to the first Pakistani girls footy team, and they put up a wonderful show in the International Cup in Melbourne, Australia. They impressed everybody. They didn't have much training. They only trained for a few weeks, really, but they picked up the rules really fast, and everybody over there said that they have tremendous potential. So I'm delighted to have three members of the Pakistani girls footy team here in the studio. I've been joined by Abiha Haider, who is the vice captain of the team. Abiha, great to see you.
Same here. Thank you for having us.
And we also have Karishma Ali. Karishma, wonderful to see you.
Thank you for having us.
And we also have Ahmed. Myra, you were the captain, right?
Yes, nice.
Pleasure to see you as well.
Pleasure to meet you too.
Right, girls, congratulations. Well done, all of you. You've made everybody proud. So it'll be, what we really want to know, I mean, of course, we'll talk about the matches and how you perform, what you learned. But first, I mean, how it all began. Because let's face it, I mean, this is quite random. Forget a Pakistani girls footy team, just a Pakistani footy team. So when you got into this, and I'll start with the vice captain, Abiha, it must have been quite a challenge for you.
It was quite a challenge. 4 months down the line, before Ramadan, we heard about these trainings going on in Jinnah Stadium, and I was approached by my friend. She's sitting right beside me, and after her saying to me, we went to the training and we tried about the game. And over there were only 4 of the girls standing without any coach, just one ball, and they were like, we're preparing for this international cup. So from there, because I have a lot of international experience, considering my soccer experience, having a side, so we took over the game. We learned the game through the website, through the YouTube and all that, and from there we called all our friends to the ground. We organized trials and everything, and then that was the thing where it all began. And we made it possible.
When did you first hear of this sport, Aussie rules football? It's extremely popular in Australia.
Just before Ramadan, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so you managed to pick up the rules in what, like a few weeks, really?
It was just a 1 month training what we had in Islamabad, and we were not having any proper coach, any professional coach. I was the one, literally, who used to study the game on YouTube, on websites, and then I used to go to the training and used to tell all my teammates about what actually we have to go through and what are the training techniques, what are the ball handling techniques and all that. So it was quite a challenge, yes, because first of all, we weren't having any professional coach, but deep down the line, we were sincere in our hearts to carry this game forward, and fortunately made it possible towards Australia.
Karishma, what about you? I mean, when you decided to get into this, what was going through your mind?
So basically, I was the first one to know about this sport. What happened is we were all soccer players here. And the person who is the president or secretary of AFL, he approached our manager saying that he wanted, us girls to join him for the footy training. And our manager, he told me, and I went on the first day when I went to the ground, I saw a few girls with a ball, but at the first sight, when I saw, I didn't really like it. I didn't know what was going on.
It must have looked a bit strange.
Yeah, it was very strange because what they were doing, obviously, they didn't know much about the rules, so they were doing whatever they felt was right. So I called Abiha up and I was like, there is this game, AFL footy, and there's an international cup coming up. So do you want to join for training? And she said yes, and then that's where we started. She came to training, and basically she helped make up the whole team. But at the beginning I didn't know much about the game, so I didn't really like the game. But once I started playing and had this whole international experience, it's been amazing, and I love footy. So I'm waiting to participate in more tournaments.
Myra, I spoke to you a few weeks ago. You were here on the show,
yes.
If you remember, and you sounded very positive, very bullish, and you talked about the fact that yes, even though you guys had only been training for a few weeks, you hadn't got much training, you were still very confident that you'd be able to put up a good show, and that's exactly what you guys did. So you must be very, very pleased with yourself and your team.
Yes, we did put on a good show. Even though we didn't get too far in the tournament, we did put on a good show, like you said. and we gained a lot of experience and exposure. I mean, at the end of the day, it's not about winning, it's about putting up a show and gaining experience. And there were a lot of wonderful people there who believed in us and who saw the potential in us. So I guess that's our big achievement here.
Right. I mentioned in my introduction that you're the first Pakistani girls footy team, if I'm not mistaken. And
Yeah.
you're also the first female Muslim team to take part in footy.
Yeah.
So that's a wonderful achievement.
Yeah, that's
remarkable.
100% true. Yeah.
Right. So when you got to Australia, obviously, like you said, you were all quite raw going there. You had just begun understanding the rules and what footy is all about. But once you got there, I'm sure you received some training from international coaches, and I'm sure you saw some of the other girls who had experience practicing. So I'm sure that helped a lot, really, once you landed in Melbourne.
That helped a lot. Once we landed in Melbourne, we got to have these panel of coaches. There were 5 or 6 of them, and they were the ones who have literally groomed us to the extreme level. We could never ever thought to be the ones over there, which we have already made our names upon. One of the main coach, our head coach Michael Gallis, I would really want to mention his name over here because he was the one who had seen that potential into us. He was the one carrying those tears in his eyes when we were the ones performing in the ground, our determination. We were the ones never giving up in the ground against all those senior teams, all those mighty world teams.
Yeah.
Against them. So he was the one standing on the line, speaking
Supporting
our
you,
names
encouraging
out.
you.
Exactly, that's what we needed over there. And having even after our last game, he was the one. He called all the team besides him. He was having tears in his eyes, and he was like, "I haven't seen any team, any girls team having this much determination, this much enthusiasm, this much sincerity in themselves, which I've seen in the girls of Pakistan." So that is what we have done over there. We have raised the flag of Pakistan very, very high, and we are very proud of it.
I mean, Abiha makes a fine point. I mean, you went to Australia undercooked. You had just learned the game, so obviously, I'm sure you knew. I mean, you were going there to win, but most importantly, you were going there to learn. And I'm sure you picked up not only a tremendous amount about Australian rules football, but about yourselves, really.
Yeah.
So what do you have to say about that?
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, the amount of experience we have had from here, we wouldn't have gone far if we hadn't had those coaches over there. We had amazing coaches, like she said, there were 5, 6 of them, but we had Michael Gallis and we had Wasim, who is Lebanese, but he's more Pakistani than any one of us.
100%.
He's always there supporting us, and he's always been there. And these, they've made us feel like we're big players. We have achieved so much. I mean, we haven't had that much experience, but the kind of support they gave us, it made us feel like we're very big, and we achieved so big, and we kept fighting until the end. In every game, we played every game with with less experience, but we played it until the end. And yeah, like our coach says, our Michael Gallis, his main point is he has one line that he says he's learned in Urdu, saying "Maze karo." Yeah,
Have fun.
Yeah, have
Have
fun.
fun.
So that's what we have done throughout the tournament.
No, absolutely. That's what you need to do. There's
Yeah.
no point doing all this if
Yeah.
you're not having fun. And if you have fun, that's when you'll do well. We've been talking about the training, about your training, of course. And as I said, you went to Melbourne a little undercooked, and so I get the feeling that you learned more on the job once you got to Melbourne.
Yes.
You mentioned your coaches and watching the other girls. Tell me about the kind of training you had to do. What Michael and Wasim made you do once you got to Melbourne. What kind of drills did you have to go through?
We had ball passing drills and kicking drills, and followed by stamina exercises. And he always encouraged us to keep an eye on our diets. And
It's
I
pretty
guess
hard to do that in Melbourne because they have fantastic food there. To keep-
fantastic food and low temperature, which made us want to eat more.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. It's winter over there. It
Yeah.
must have been absolutely freezing. So
freezing.
no, but so I mean, were you feeling the cold when you were running up and down? I don't. That
No,
probably wasn't.
once
Yeah,
we
that
went-
wasn't an issue. But afterwards, maybe.
Afterwards, of course, once we entered the ground for the match, that was whatever we were looking forward was the match. But once the match was over, then obviously the freezing wind was back to us. So yeah, the weather was quite a challenge once we reached there.
How challenging was it to pick up all the rules? Because Aussie rules football, I mean, it can be a little bit complicated. Like when you're running, you have to bounce the ball quite often. You can't just, do a normal pass. You have to sort of punch it to your player, if I'm not mistaken, or kick it.
Yeah.
So I mean, once you started playing, were there any problems, or did you get into it pretty fast?
No, I guess we get into it pretty fast. That was the reason our coaches were so proud of us.
Yeah.
That coming from Pakistan, not having this game played at any level, or not even having proper training, and again learning this game that fast and actually showing the skills on the ground. So that was the reason we made everyone so proud of us over there.
How many quarters did you guys play?
4 quarters.
4 quarters, 20
It's
minutes?
for 20 minutes, yeah.
Yeah, so that must have
Each.
been extremely
Yeah,
challenging.
yeah,
I mean, tell us about that. I
that
mean, were there
test-
moments where you just wanted to collapse?
That tests our stamina, but actually no, we were really good. I didn't see any girl collapsing throughout throughout any match. They were all really good, and they all kept fighting until the end, and we were pretty amazing. So it wasn't really hard.
Was
for
it
any
more
of us.
challenging than you thought it would be once you got out there and started playing matches?
Being honest, the first game that was against UK, that was very challenging, and that I think was the main game where we learned all of the rules in one day.
Yeah.
Because there were some moments like where we had to run forward, and we didn't go forward, and we were staying back. But that was the main game where we learned everything.
Oh.
The first game, it was quite hard.
So that
but
was
then-
the only time. That first game you
Yeah.
felt extremely raw. But then
Yeah.
when you saw how the English girls played, that's when you picked the rules up. You had a more thorough
started
understanding of the rules,
adjusting,
and you took that to the other games.
Yeah, exactly. And after that, our second match was, I guess, against Canada.
Yeah.
That was it. And they were the last champions the last time of the IC Cup. And we gave them a very tough time in the first quarter. They couldn't score against us, and
they
that
were
was so amazing.
three times our age.
Yeah,
Really?
and they were way
Yeah.
more experienced. They had played other cups, other tournaments, especially IC Cup. They've, I guess, played more than once, so they've had more experience. But we gave them a really tough time. That was amazing, and our coach was very happy to see, and everyone else was really, surprised to see that a new team coming in and giving such a tough time to a more experienced team like Canada.
Wait, how old are you girls, if you don't mind me
I
asking?
am
21.
20. Yeah, I'm 20.
Around about 20, 21, 22. Yeah.
I'm 20.
20 and then 21.
Right,
Yeah.
okay. So, and these Canadian girls, you said, were much older and much
They,
more experienced.
yeah,
So they
I-
must have been, after the match, they must have been extremely impressed with you, because I was mentioning this to Myra, that once you get there, you must talk to these girls. And I'm sure they'd be open to helping you out after the matches. So I'm
Yeah.
sure you learned a lot from these girls.
Yes, they were really supportive, and they were not only just stronger but like taller than us as well. So we got to learn a lot from them by their skills. And like Karishma said, the first match we had a really tough time, but at the same time we gave them a tough time as well. So that was.
So you feel like, I mean, I guess just picking up on this, that you were intimidated in the first match against England, but then after you really struggled against them, you felt like you had nothing to lose, and then the intimidation sort of wore off.
Yes, it was intimidation was gone, and we felt more confident for our next match.
Plus, what was the plus point over there was that after every of our match, the opponent team used to gather around us. The coaches used to come, and then they were the ones who used to appreciate us, all our efforts, and encourage us in a way that we have to continue this game. We have a long way to move forward, and whatever we did in the match, that was quite amazing to them. So yeah, that was how they appreciated us, and that was very good to them.
We've been talking about the matches that you guys played. You mentioned England and Canada. Let's get into this more. Your most memorable moment during the tournament while you were playing. Your most memorable match that you'll
My
never
first
forget.
match, I collapsed 2 times on the ground, but I lifted myself again. I continued my game, never gave up. And after the match, I won the Women of the Match award from my coach, Michael Gallis. So I was very honored, very, very honored. And that was the most memorable moment of my entire trip.
Because you got back up, absolutely. Karishma, what about you?
My moment, because I was really sick in Melbourne because of the weather, I wasn't feeling well, but that didn't let me down, and that didn't stop me from playing. So, well, I could say against Fiji, because Fiji, the girls from Fiji, they're very strong, very big. But when I was playing, I was in the defense, but I didn't look that they're big or they're much better than us. I just had this thing in my heart that we're representing Pakistan, so we should give our best. I just they were very big girls, but I put them down. I tackled them really hard, and yeah, that was pretty amazing for me.
Any particular moment where, was there a moment in one match where you thought, wow, I've done this really well?
I guess, yeah, there was this one moment. It was funny at the same time when I tackled this very big girl from Canada, and I literally put her down. Everyone else was clapping and laughing at the same time because it was funny because she was double my size. So yeah, that was funny.
No, but Myra, talking to some of your teammates here, you can see the level of confidence that they have, and you as the captain must have seen their confidence grow match by match, which probably made you extremely proud.
Yes, it did. And if we compare the amount of confidence we had before and after, there's a big difference. And I guess the important thing is that we gain exposure and experience. And one of my proudest moments was after the matches, we had a gala dinner, and I was chosen in the world team. I was the first Pakistani chosen in the world.
In the next row.
Yeah.
What were you, when you heard that, how did you feel?
First, when they announced Pakistan, we were shocked, and I was speechless. That yeah, even if it wasn't me, it was any of us. Yeah. My level of happiness would have been the same. It was a very proud moment.
It was such a proud moment for all of us.
Probably one of the best moments when you
was,
heard
yes.
that.
Probably my best moment
100%.
of the whole.
When you heard that happen, when you
Yes.
heard that. But what about you, Myra? I mean, personally, which game was your favorite?
The one against Fiji, like Karishma said, because they were double our size, but still we gave them a tough time.
Let's talk about the future of footy now.
Yeah.
Where do you see it going after the kind of show you put up in Melbourne? Where do you see this going?
Before this question, I would like to divert the conversation to a slightly different point. First of all, obviously, we should always appreciate and thank those people who have been able to help us and support us. And they were the main reasons we went to Australia, and we have put a great show for Pakistan. So first of all, AFL Pakistan, and I would really like to name the man behind all this scenario is Mr. Sardar Tariq Mahmood. He is basically the man who helped us all in going to Australia, because there were certain situations over here which made us left over here, and the main players, the captain, the vice captain, and all the major players of the team were left in Pakistan, and all the what do we call it? All the unexperienced players were taken to Australia. So I would really, really like to thank Mr. Sardar Tariq for supporting us. And same on the other way around, when we reached Melbourne, there were quite some situations where the Pakistani girls team were left on the roads, literally on the roads.
What?
Yeah, that was the first day over there. When we were literally left on the roads, we were having no accommodation, no food, no nothing.
Must have been terrified.
That was terrified. Obviously, if it wasn't of a few of us experienced players over here, our team would have been collapsed. The girls would have been collapsed, literally. But I would really, really, really thanks to the Shaheen Footy Club, Shaheen Sporting Club in Australia, Melbourne. They were the ones who actually lifted us all, and because they were the ones who brought all these big names of coaches of Melbourne to us. They were the ones who actually brought Pakistani women team to the grounds. And I would really, really like to name Mr. Kashif, Mr. Aris, Mr. Nomi, Wasim, Michael, we have taken their names, Andrew. They were the ones who have actually given everything of their own to Pakistan. And they're the actual Pakistanis. We say that people who lives in abroad, they're the ones who do not even care about their land, and they're not that patriotic as we are. But actually, we are very wrong. They are the ones who are actually more patriotic, more towards our land than us. They're the true Pakistanis. Yeah.
You know, I understand exactly what Abiha is saying. And Karishma, I mean, I'm sure you've realized throughout this whole process how crucial it is to have a strong support base. And she took all these names and how much they helped you girls. Of course, you girls put in tremendous effort, and I'm sure they'll say that as well. But I think, I mean, it's safe to say that if you weren't getting this kind of confidence, if you weren't getting this kind of encouragement, you wouldn't have been able to put up such a good performance.
Sure.
So it's great to see that all of you, I mean, we're half an hour into the show, and almost throughout you've been acknowledging them, which I think is absolutely fabulous.
True, yeah. I mean, what they've done for us, it's so amazing. It's really amazing because, like she said, there was this point where we were left on the roads. I mean, Team Pakistan were representing
Tell me a little bit
Pakistan.
about that. Tell us about that.
So basically, we were taken under the responsibility of
our secretary
Secretary of AFL Pakistan
Right.
to Australia, where we were told that we would have accommodation, our food will be free, everything will be free, so we don't have to worry about it. We just need to fly to Australia and play our game. We went to Australia, and the moment we got picked from the airport, Kashif, basically, who is the president of Shaheen Footy Club, he picked us up, and he tells us that there is no accommodation, no nothing, and he wasn't told about us.
joking, really?
No, he wasn't told about us going to Melbourne or Australia, that there is a girls' team. Actually, there were 23 girls going, and he knew nothing about it. So, yeah.
Yeah, finish your thought.
So, well, whatever, I mean, at that moment, if it weren't for Kasha, we would have been on the road, and probably we would have changed our flight dates and come back or something, because we didn't know what to do. And thanks to them, I mean, they left their families, they left their jobs, they literally left everything, and they would they did everything, basically did everything for the Pakistan's team. So we were taken under the responsibility of another person. They weren't even responsible for us, but they took all the responsibility, and they have done everything for us.
Well, through this, I mean, well, trauma. I mean, I'm not sure, it must have been a little bit traumatic,
Yes.
you know, all that was happening here before you left, and then the long flight. I don't want to think about how long your flight was, and then you land, and then this happens. But, you know, at least you have a story to tell. You know,
Yeah.
that's how you have to look at it. And now,
Yeah,
I mean, now you
exactly.
look back, and it's actually quite a funny story to
It
tell.
is.
It actually reminds me of this movie. Have you seen Cool Runnings, about the Jamaican bobsled team? You should watch that movie.
Okay,
Just
yeah.
watch that movie, because I mean, again, it's a sort of similar situation. Nobody associated Jamaica or the West
Yeah.
Indies with bobsledding, so you
I
should
think-
watch that movie.
Yeah, I think there'd be an amazing movie on us too. If there was a movie, it would be famous.
I'll direct it. I'll give it a shot. Myra, I asked Abiha this question about where you see women's footy in Pakistan going. So after what you managed to do in Australia, do you see it going further?
Yeah, I definitely see a future because our coach in Australia, Michael Gallas, he wants to start a base in Pakistan. He'll also be visiting in around April. So once we have a base in Pakistan, he'll be joining us and training us, and we'll be getting in more girls from all over Pakistan to have a new start for footy, and so we can participate and give a better performance in the next cup, which will be in 3 years.
What more needs to be done, you think? I mean, of course, Myra believes that there is a strong future for Pakistani girls and footy over here. What measures need to be taken, you think, to improve this, to give this a bright future?
The base is what we have gone through, none other shall gone through. And the basic thing is that the federation, the AFL Pakistan, needs to be very clean, needs to be very transparent, needs to be corruption free. And that this is how we will be looking forward to AFL Pakistan. Now we'll be having more meetings with one of the executive member of AFL Pakistan. He is Mr. Syed, of course, I've named him. And that is how we'll be making AFL Pakistan clean from every kind of negativity, so that the next team which will be touring abroad should never face what we have already faced, and so that we can already create a base of AFL that what Myra said, that our foreign coaches are willing to come over here. Wasim, the Lebanese coach, is very, very excited. He actually messages each one of us on daily basis about Pakistan, that he wants to visit us, and how to set the training camps over here and all that stuff. So obviously we'll be taking footy forward. But once AFL Pakistan gets organized, we all will be working.
It must be so satisfying to know that you had such a huge impact on your trainers and your coaches over there.
Our phone is literally filled with their messages, and right now I'm sure they'll be seeing this interview. I'm sure they'll be watching this interview right now, and I'm sure we'll be having messages on the group as well.
Yeah, and we'd love to have them on the show as well.
100%. Once we'll have them in Pakistan, I'm gonna get them through every channel.
Karishma, would you like to add to that about about developing footy here in Pakistan, girls footy in Pakistan?
I think now that after what has happened to soccer, that is declining in this country, it's been 2 years that there's no international tournament, nothing, and that footy is a growing, sport. And like each year in the IC Cup, there are more and more countries participating, and now we're the first Muslim girls to participate in the tournament, and I guess next time there'll be more. So I think we need to work on this, and since like they said, Abiha and Myra, that our coaches, they're going to be there on our back. Michael Gallas is going to come visit us, and he's going to be training us. They have given us some footy balls so that we can come here and train ourselves. So I guess we're going to carry it on. We're going to carry it on ourselves right now. We'll be training on the weekends, and then we'll wait for our coach to visit us, and then see what further to do with the team.
I mean, it's just so fascinating that you girls. I mean, this is a sport you got to know about what, a month ago, maybe a little more than that.
2 months ago.
Yeah, a couple of months ago tops.
Yeah.
And you're so passionate about it.
Yeah,
I mean, that really is quite extraordinary, Myra.
And that is only because of the people back in Australia. They have had a huge impact upon all of us.
Yeah, I mean, like what we went through and all, we didn't really like the game in the beginning, and because of what we had to go with our secretary and all the issues, that was the main reason we were reluctant to play
How did
this
you
game.
manage to put all that negativity aside so fast? What do you think the turning point was? I'm going to ask the captain first, Myra.
It was only possible because of the Australian coaches, because how they believed in us when no one did. Even our manager, the AFL Pakistan manager, he didn't believe in us, and he tried to put us down. But like I said, the Australian coaches, Michael Gallas and Wasim, and like Abiha mentioned, Kashif and Aris, they supported us throughout and believed in us, and that's what really was the turning point for our success.
Yeah, well, I'm sure after the performance that you put up, there'll be more positivity. But really, I mean, that's what Australia is famous for. Like, in sports, they're always positive and they're telling you to give your best, and that energy sort of rubbed off on all of you, absolutely. Myra, I mentioned, remember you were here a few weeks ago just before you left for Australia. I told you to tell your entire team, management, whoever, to Instagram everything, to put everything on Facebook, to put everything out there. I hope you girls did that.
We did.
Did you?
You did.
Okay, good. Well, do it more.
Yeah.
Do it more often. That is absolutely crucial.
You should visit our coach's Instagram and Facebook, Michael Gallas.
And it's full of us.
Yeah, it's literally everything about Pakistan and Pakistani girls, and how proud he is of us. So I think you should visit his.
And I will. And you've got to continue doing this, because you said you're going to be training more often. Do some little. I mean, I'm just trying to give you some advice here. I hope you'll allow me. Just some like little tutorials. Put it on YouTube. Make it interesting for viewers, and that will get more girls into it. Yes, of course, the AFL and whoever, they have a responsibility, and I'm sure they're going to try their best to promote footy. But you girls can also do the same in your own capacity. What do you think?
100%, I agree. That is how we'll be looking forward to engage more youth towards footy. That is our main aim right now, to bring lots of girls to footy, and we are having certain plans in our minds to how to have this game taken forward. So we'll be looking forward to all these advices.
It's a fun sport as well. It's such
a
a fun
very
sport.
fun
So
sport,
if you put this like just off the top of my head, a YouTube tutorial with all you guys. I mean, I'm sure so many people would be interested in that. So that's something you should think about, putting all this stuff, everything on social media.
Yeah, I guess because social media these days, it's growing and everything is on social media. Basically, half the I think every teenager, not half the teenagers, obviously, everyone's using social media. So I guess since we're the ones who began with this game, and basically we're the founders, or you can say the ambassadors, we'll do that for everyone else, because we want to get more people involved in this. we want, this to spread throughout Pakistan, and we want talented people. Like our coach said, that we need more tall girls, because we had less time, so we couldn't get many girls. We got together a team and we went to Australia, but now that, we're thinking of making a good team, we're gonna put up videos and tutorials and everything and get people interested, more girls interested in this game.
So we've talked a lot about your matches and your training and how important that was, learning from the other girls from different teams. What did you guys learn about yourselves? I mean, this must have been a massive experience for you. Myra, I'll begin with you.
Yes, it was a massive experience. We not only learned the game, we had a confidence boost as well, and we learned to never give up and fight till the end. Definitely.
Yeah, that
Abiha?
was our main tagline after in every match they had. Fight till the last second, never give up. And I guess that is the biggest thing we've gotten in ourselves, that whatever scenario comes up, whatever negativity comes up, just never give up and face it till the last second.
Karishma?
Yeah, I think it's the same, that we can go through anything, any problem, and we can give our best in nothing affects our game.
Yeah, going
So-
through what you went through
Yeah.
in a country far, far away, you learn a lot about yourself. Facets of your personality develop. Stuff inside you thought that you never had. I mean, when I went to university, when I left Pakistan, went to university, I was all on my own. I learned so much about myself. So I'm sure you girls went through something similar. And being in Australia, Melbourne, such a beautiful, beautiful city, I hear. I mean, tell us about that. When you landed in Melbourne, forget the transport stuff and all that. After that, what was it like? Must have been
cold.
a big eye
It was
opener.
really cold, like 7 degrees. So like from 44 degrees to 7 degrees, like a big
And
difference.
sometimes
And
going to minus.
we were, yeah.
Did you have to
we-
wear gloves and overcoats and all that? Does it get that cold?
Yeah, we
Yes,
did.
we did. And when we landed, we weren't really wearing warm clothes, and that was really shocking for us. We weren't mentally prepared for this.
Oh,
so-
that's okay. That gave you all an
Yeah.
opportunity to go
Yeah, but it
shopping,
was
which is
fun. It
always
was
fun,
very
huh?
fun,
Yeah.
Melbourne is beautiful, especially for its. We were so happy to see all the beautiful grounds, and we visited this one club, Western Bulldogs, and it's so amazing to see how they treat their players. It's a club, but the way they treat their players, and they have such beautiful grounds everywhere, because it's the sporting hub, they say. And it's surrounded by water, and there's so many beautiful beaches. So Melbourne was really beautiful.
Did you guys go to the beach? It must have been
We did.
freezing if you did.
We did.
We did.
What
We
was
did,
the beach
and
like?
we did in the
Freezing.
evening, so it was very much freezing. It's very cold. It's very cold over there.
Visiting the beach with jackets on.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
of
jackets
course.
and beanies.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, but entering MCG, of course, walking down
Yeah.
MCG for the for
Yeah,
the flag
absolutely.
march,
That's where you
that
play
was-
footy, at the
yeah.
MCG.
And that was a big honor, and she was carrying the flag of she was carrying the flag of Pakistan, and she was leading the whole delegation, even the boys. So that was a big achievement for us, leading Pakistan in MCG, and going to Ittihad, visiting Ittihad, and giving out interviews over there. So yeah, that was very positive. Going to these big places where one can only dream of, going to MCG, going to Ittihad, and running here and there. So yeah, that
I mean,
was
the MCG, and I've never been there, but I've heard, and even just looking at it on TV, it's glorious.
It's-
yeah,
I mean,
it
it must,
really
and it's
is.
massive, isn't it?
Yes.
It's huge.
Yeah, and we had our athlete march, so you can say that we had that in MCG, and that was such a proud moment. And the proudest moment was that Myra was the one holding the flag, and she was the only female out of all the teams holding the flag and leading our team into the MCG.
What
leading
was
the
going-
whole delegation, even the
Yeah.
boys team, everyone.
What was going through your mind, Myra, when you were holding the Pakistani flag?
My heart was beating really fast, and
I can imagine.
yeah, and it was a proud moment, and it was, holding the green color. That meant a lot to me and all of
Absolutely, yeah.
us. Yeah.
Oh, the boys were there as well. We should mention the boys. You said you told me off air that they beat India, didn't they?
They
Yes,
did
they
twice,
did.
and
Twice,
that was
that
such
was
a
one
good-
hell of a game.
They must have been thrilled when that
Yeah.
We
happened.
all were thrilled. We were all jumping around the ground as soon as the final whistle blew.
And I
It was
guess
one hell
it's
a
one
moment.
of it always has been. It's one of the most exciting game of the tournament. India versus Pakistan is very tough, and
Yeah.
the boys always give their best in this match. Like they give extra much, and it was amazing. They won twice, So yeah, it was a proud moment for us there too.
Tell me a little bit about your team dinners with your coaches. I think that's always very interesting to hear from teams because that's when you do a lot of reflecting, a lot of introspection takes place.
Yeah, there was one interesting conversation between me and Michael Callis. We were having a gala dinner, and he was asking us about obviously halal and haram food and all that. So there came the food on the table, and the waitress came and asked him about what he'd be having. So he said, no, only halal food on this table. So yeah, and once after our match with PNG, there was a team Papua New Guinea. So we cut a cake of one of their players who was having her birthday. And after the cake ceremony ended, one of the players got his cake for our team. So my coach came to me and he was like, Abiha, this would be haram. I was like, yes, Michael, this would be haram. Let me go and tell her that we won't eat. No, let me go and tell her. And he went towards and he was like, and he told to that player, sorry, we eat only halal, no haram. I'm sorry, we appreciate it, we take it, but only halal. So that was very very fascinating. That those coaches over there, they're such big names, but they're adjusting in the environment like us. They're not going and eating stuff alone. They're like, no, if whatever the team would be doing, whatever the team.
And they were extremely accommodating.
Yeah, that was extremely amazing to see all that stuff.
Yeah, and the food, by the way, yeah, Melbourne is famous for its food. The food and the coffee as well, that must have all been
Coffee.
delicious.
Coffee
Yeah.
is
the
Melbourne,
best
by the
part.
way, apparently Melbourne has the best coffee in the world.
Yeah,
It does.
coffee
Yeah.
and
Another
us
reason
had
why
an
I'm glad
amazing
you were there.
relationship over there,
Right.
considering the weather.
Yeah.
Girls, we have to leave it at that. Congratulations. You're all
Thank
winners.
you.
And as you said, I'm sure Footy has a very, very bright future, and that's because you've made it bright. Congratulations,
Thank you
all
so
of
Thank
much.
you.
Well
It
done.
means a lot for all of us.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
That's all we have time for. Keep watching Sports Extra on PTV World. See you next time. Bye-bye.